I feel bad for doing that to you, but my God, what is wrong with people who produce this content? That's what you want to show toddlers?
Yeah, now, if you're a parent, you know Coco Melon. We don't watch TV.
Yeah.
We know Coco Melon. I wanted to show this clip because this is one of the shows that is praised by everyone. People just put it on TV and the kids get mesmerized.
As much as like I want to sugarcoat how I approach this conversation, I also want to be very transparent and honest, because I think a lot of us listening feel this way, but everyone's afraid to say what they feel. And it's not to judge anyone's decisions, because you choose what you want to do in your life and that's your business. But I think when we start targeting the children, that's a whole different ballgame. And we're not targeting children that are teenagers that are going through hormonal changes that may be, experiencing certain like feelings or desires or whatever the case is. We're targeting innocent toddlers. Welcome to the Noir Poise podcast, where wisdom is power is more than just a motto.
It's our way of life.
To the parents out there, and maybe you're not a parent, but you've noticed it too. Have any of you noticed they've been trying to sexualize our children, or at least push sexuality on our children a little bit more heavier recently?
I'm going to play devil's advocate and say that it's always been happening, but maybe as millennials, we're just
In denial.
noticing so much. Because I've heard you sing some songs from your childhood that you had no business, I should say, singing when you were a child.
That's true. I think there has been a form of it
Yeah.
throughout history, but I think now it's on a different level, like everything, honestly. But then again, we could just be in denial because we grew up thinking what we grew up with was normal. So to us, we're just like, yeah, that's normal. And now maybe because it's not what our normal was, that we're looking at it like, what's going on? Every generation thinks the current generation is out of control.
That's true.
So maybe. But nonetheless, I do think it's been on a different scale now. Like if I could think of books that we've read growing up that were like required depending on the age range, there wasn't anything that stood out to me that was like, whoa.
Yeah.
Now there are books that are pushing a lot of this stuff on children that are underage. I've seen so many different videos from school board meetings where parents are approaching board members with snippets from certain books that are listed as requirements for their children. And the unfortunate truth is most parents are not going to read the books that their children are reading.
Yeah.
Right? I get it. Y'all busy with life. Everybody's busy with life. Who has time to read every single book that they're required? There's a trust in the education system hoping that you're not out to teach my child anything suspicious, And this is not every single school board or whatever the case is, but I've seen a lot of videos from certain districts that have parents complaining about some of the requirements for their children. And it's some wild stuff.
Yeah, it's out of control. And I think the key difference is we were watching things as kids that was meant for adults.
Yeah, that's true.
Or singing songs that were meant for adults.
Facts.
Although you were saying this the other day where Aaliyah, Beyonce, all these artists, they were in their teens singing the songs that they were singing.
Yeah.
To us, we looked at them as they were adults because they were older but
than us.
Realistically,
They were sexualizing them.
right, they were.
Yeah.
And I think the main difference now is the age that they're targeting is just a lot younger.
Yeah. Now it's under 13, I feel like. When we were coming up, it was puberty, teenage years, which is still crazy if we're honest. But at least it was like, okay, at this point, the child is probably going to be exposed to it to some extent. So it's the parents' responsibility to have that conversation
Yeah.
and educate their children. Now it's like, why does a 7-year-old need to know this type
Yeah.
of information? Or why does a 5-year-old need to know certain type of information? I think that's when it's like, what's going on here?
And that brings me to actually two clips I wanted you to see, and we
Okay.
could talk about it. So I'm just going to go ahead and play it here.
Okay, I'm scared.
Now, let's go to a show called Coco Melon. I wasn't familiar with this program, but apparently it's the most popular show for toddlers, and it's never too early to ramp up the LGBTQIA plus indoctrination.
Thing that we know about you. You love to get up and dance. How about you break out those moves for your two biggest fans? If you're not sure what to choose, think about all the things you like to do. Just be you.
Just be me?
Yep.
I am so sorry you had to watch that. I feel bad for doing that to you, but my God, what is wrong with people who produce this content? That's what you want to show toddlers?
Yeah. Now, if you're a parent, you know Coco Melon. We don't watch TV.
Yeah.
We know Coco Melon. I wanted to show this clip because this is one of the shows that is praised by everyone. People just put it on TV and the kids get mesmerized. 99.9% of these episodes, I'm sure, are totally fine.
Yeah.
But then comes these little episodes. And there's one thing if you're trying to talk to a teenager or someone already going through puberty, which I still don't agree with.
Right.
This is like for
Toddlers.
Not
Not even toddlers, because the kids that are watching it are like,
Yeah, some of them are barely talking.
yeah.
Or barely walking.
Right.
You know?
And you know what's funny? As I was watching it, I try to understand different people's perspectives. So obviously, y'all already know if y'all seen the episodes. You guys know how I feel about this. But I'm not going to judge people's lifestyles and what they choose to do with their life, their children, whatever. So when I was watching the beginning part, I was like, okay, it's two dads. Why do you have to show that to toddlers? But then I had to consider, in this day and age, there are a lot of toddlers now that do have two dads, that have two moms. So kids are seeing it in the parks. They're seeing it, at school. They'll notice it. So I was like, okay, I don't agree with it, but I'm trying to understand the logic behind showing it, the inclusion concept, right? But I didn't realize what they were saying in the lyrics, and it was teaching the toddler to choose whatever they like. That's the part for me that was even more unsettling, because it's one thing if you're illustrating two moms, two dads, because the reality is we live in a world where there's two moms and two dads. So yeah, wrong group. You shouldn't be showing that to toddlers, but I'm trying to think of it from the perspective of someone who thinks completely opposite from us. I feel like despite how you feel about LGBTQ, I think for the most part, any sane adult knows that or feels that teaching a toddler to choose the opposite gender based on how they feel is
Irrational.
I'm going to go as far as say mental illness. Okay? Because I know we're all thinking it. I know we're all thinking it. And as much as I want to sugarcoat how I approach this conversation, I also want to be very transparent and honest, because I think a lot of us listening feel this way, but everyone's afraid to say what they feel. And it's not to judge anyone's decisions, because you choose what you want to do in your life and that's your business. But I think when we start targeting the children, that's a whole different ballgame. And we're not targeting children that are teenagers that are going through hormonal changes that may be, experiencing certain feelings or desires or whatever the case is. We're targeting innocent toddlers that have not really, they could hardly understand the difference in their private parts sometimes, depending on what kind of siblings they have, right? So I feel like pushing that on children. By the way, toddlers are 1 to, wait, what is it? Toddlers are 1 to 3, right? Or 1 to 2.
So I looked up Coco Melon's target audience, and it's 2 to 5 years old.
Okay. And that's the problem, because 2 to 5 years old is way too young. Let's be honest. But there are parents showing their kids this show under 2.
Mm-hmm.
We know some that are showing their infants and, you know, their 1-year-olds certain shows because they see cartoon and they automatically assume that it's for their children's age. But 2 to 5, that's ridiculous.
Yeah.
That's ridiculous. So, yeah.
My main issue with it is I think the messaging alone, like if you were just listening to the audio, it sounds very good.
Friendly.
Just
and
be you.
Yeah.
That's great advice
Right.
for any age. But the part that got me was when they said just be you, they put a tiara on him and he had like a tutu.
Yeah. It's
spinning.
so many things going on in there.
Yes. So even if they didn't say it with their words or the words sounded positive.
They said it. They're telling that boy to be a girl.
Right, exactly.
Basically. They're telling those children, and they know that. I believe they know that.
Yeah.
And I believe it's intentional. I don't even think it's an inclusion thing, because I've even heard a lot of people in the LGBTQ in that group express their disagreements with this because they understand that, like, no, this isn't what we stand for. Like, you're free to love who you want to love. That's your business. But the children are a different ball game.
Right.
You know?
These are, there was a time growing up where watching Dragon Ball Z, I was convinced I could become Super Saiyan. And I had friends in school who thought the same thing. So we would literally just sit there in the 3rd or 4th grade, just talk about how could we become Super Saiyans. Like, we really believe in that. But just to show you that whatever you watch on TV, you believe and you want to become. Just like people watch music videos all day long as kids, and
they want to be rappers.
You want to be rappers.
You
want
watch
to be
the
an
NPA.
artist.
You want to be a basketball player.
Right. So this is definitely intentional.
Of course,
it may be behind positive messaging, but there's absolutely no reason why 2 to 5 year olds should be seeing this.
Yeah, I agree.
And that brings me to another video I wanted to see of another popular show. So I'm just going to take a moment and play it.
Gay news, Peppa Pig just made history.
I'm Penny Polar Bear. I live with my mummy and my other mummy. One mummy is a doctor and one mummy cooks spaghetti.
Playing devil's advocate again. Someone who disagrees with our thinking will look at this and be like, well, what's the problem? Because some children that age have 2 mommies, so shouldn't we be educating the children so they're aware that there are children out there that have 2 mommies and that have 2 daddies? There are people that may look at it from that standpoint. And what would you respond to that?
I'll say that's the parents' job to figure out when is the right time to discuss that. One thing I realize about society is they try to make the exception the rule. And that's one of the reasons why everyone gets offended by everything. They think my story should be singled out because I'm the exception.
Right.
You know, you have to
Everybody
make
wants
sure
their
you
story on
include
a
me.
pedestal.
Right. So I get that idea because they have Barbies nowadays who have Down syndrome, handicapped Barbies. Like they're trying to make the kids
inclusive.
They're trying to make the kids who are handicapped or who have Down syndrome feel included. And that aspect I do get, but I don't think for any reason there should be any kind of sexual related topic in a child's cartoon.
Yeah. I mean, listen, you know how I feel. I agree, but I'm thinking of people who will look at that and be like, okay, so, because I mean, there's children who have mommies and daddies, and they'll even go as far as like making it equivalent to race and be like, well, there's biracial couples, so what's the problem with showing a white mom and a black dad or vice versa? You know what I mean? Like, that's what they probably say.
And they're right to say that. I think it's just the fact that a lot of parents are unaware of this kind of activity. So if you want to let your kids watch Peppa Pig and all these other Coco Melon, all these other cartoons, and you know the activity behind it, then
that's your business.
That's your business.
Right.
But a lot of people are unaware of what's being pushed on their children. And
because it's snuck in.
Right.
That's really
and
what the
that's
issue
been
is.
the case for years.
Yeah. It's like it's one episode or maybe like a few episodes here and there, or even just a scene. But the scene is done in such an intentional way and a manipulative way that it changes the course of that child's mind forever, rather
Right.
than just providing the information. First of all, it shouldn't be for toddlers.
Yeah.
It shouldn't be for toddlers. Like, the most a toddler should know is there's a boy and there's a girl. Like, they shouldn't have to know about even this is my opinion, but even the concept of teaching toddlers about like marriage. I feel like that's too soon to explain that to them. You know what I mean? That's just my opinion though. So this is just way too far.
Right. This actually reminds me of when I was active in church and I started doing Sunday school. The amount of stories I would hear from these kids, like elementary and junior high school kids, like it broke my heart. And I recall going to the leaders in the church and saying, we have a serious issue because a lot of these kids are dealing with adult style situations, especially with their sexuality. For one reason or another, they didn't think it was that serious. And it's not until years later, when it's almost too late, that the kid is almost set in their ways, that the parent now wants to reach out and say, could you pray for my child?
Yeah.
And that always bothered me because it always starts with little things like this. Like, it's just one episode. They may not go and spend the night thinking about it or spend the day thinking about it. That's how it literally starts. And I don't think
Little by
parents
little.
are aware of how subtle these things are or could be. There's even been books about people teaching young boys or young girls how to touch themselves.
Yeah, that's my problem too.
And when I say young boys or young girls, I'm not talking about like high school when they would give out condoms. Even now, when I think back, have you ever walked around a high school? When you're in high school, you feel like you look old.
Yeah.
But it's
then
not
now
until
you look
walk
back at
by a
high school kids and you're just like,
like,
these are babies.
What?
Yeah.
I walked by my old high school a few weeks ago, and everybody looked like a child.
Yeah, because they are.
And
They
it was,
are.
and they
They're
were
14
cursing,
to
they were doing all
17,
this, and I couldn't help but think
they
like,
are.
you're a child. You're
Yeah.
literally a child. And that was back then. They would just be giving condoms out. Now they're literally teaching kids, and you could look this up yourself. They're showing kids or allowing kids to have books that teaches them how to touch themselves.
Yeah, that part. And the age range teaching that information too, it's like wild to me. Elementary school doesn't even make sense, let alone younger than elementary school. But to play devil's advocate again, because this is a topic that I feel like is super sensitive. There's a lot of people who disagree with us, and then there's people who agree with us, but they have the mentality like, so what? Like, so what? They're showing the children this. As a parent, I'm going to make sure I step in and educate them otherwise. So if they watch boys wearing tiaras and dresses, I can tell them that that's not happening in this house, right? We've heard people say that, where we're just like, where they're just like, that's not happening here, or that's not, they explain further what that is. What would you say to the parents like that who are like, yeah, they could watch it. I'll explain it to them. I'll let them know that it's not appropriate for their age. What would you say to them?
This day and age, that's not enough. And the reason why I would say that is it's well documented that now schools are hiding kids' sexuality from
their parents. This is a real thing, y'all. Okay. Yeah. When people ask me why I homeschool, the list is like 3 pages. Seriously, there's 1,000 reasons why I do it, but this one is non-negotiable. I'm amazed at how often I mention it to parents and they're not aware. They don't know. And it's not like, oh yeah, no, it's happening out in Idaho or this place. No, it's happening here in New York, everywhere. In New Jersey, in the urban states. Like, it's happening in your local school districts. You're just not being told about it. You have to do your own research to find out about it. And that's the problem. Most parents aren't doing the research. They're like, yeah, they look at the graduation rate. They don't look at the details of it. And again, I'm not going to say this is all school. This is not all schools, but there's been many situations where there's been schools that have applied some of these like things and the parents are not aware. Yeah. So I feel like you really have to be involved on a different level now. Like, involvement doesn't mean you're doing homework. You're going to parent-teacher conferences. You're going to the concerts. Involved is on a different level. this day and age. Because before, for us, yeah, like you said, sexuality was definitely pushed through media, through music, so on and so forth, even clothing, if I could think about it. But now it's like it's literally everywhere, and it's a different type of like information. It's more than just making people feel lustful and promiscuous. It's like,
It's not subtle anymore.
it's not subtle, and to make people believe that they have different identities and it's okay. Like, we're not concerned about children saying they have multiple identities that's leading them to have multiple sexualities. That should be concerning.
Yeah, and
That should be very
the even
concerning.
scarier part is it doesn't just stop there. So it's one thing if kids are believing they're one gender or whatever. Eventually, what comes is they give you puberty blockers.
Yeah.
So a lot of kids are making life-altering
Decisions as
as
a child.
a child. And sometimes the parents are not aware
Yeah.
of this. Teachers are hiding it. And to get everyone to understand how serious this is, let's say it's reverse, right? Let's say as Christians, we believe in Jesus Christ. A kid comes up to us and says, I believe in Jesus Christ, but my parents are atheists. They don't let me read the Bible. Can I just spend 10 minutes here reading the Bible? As Christians, we're going to be like, I'm doing the Lord's work. Yeah, I'll shield you from your parents.
Yeah.
That's the idea, but in reverse.
Yeah.
These people actually believe
in what
that
they're
doing a great service to your child
Yeah.
by allowing them to
Keep a secret.
keep a secret.
Yeah.
They're using pronouns now in school. You may think your son's name is Kevin. You call him Kevin, but when he gets to school, his teachers allow everyone to call him Kelly. And you have no idea. There's parents who discover this and it's been going on for years or for months.
Yeah,
Like
scary.
it's on another level now that you can't just say, I'll talk to my kids about it. I'll let them know.
Yeah.
That may work for some, or that may have worked in the past, but I feel like nowadays it's just too dangerous because
It's heavy. It's everywhere.
yeah, it's everywhere.
Yeah.
I went somewhere with our daughter one time, and I was looking for flowers to give her. And when I went to the store, they were like, "Oh, that's so cute! You're trying to give her flowers." They didn't want to let me pay and all that because they thought it was so cute. And then the lady said, "Oh, wait, before I go," and she looks around and she finds a pride flag. And then
Our daughter,
gives
at
it-
this point, she was 2.
yeah, she gives it to her and says, love is love, okay? So
She was 2.
yeah, 2 years old. So I stood there and they were so nice. To be honest with you, I didn't know what to do because they were so nice to me. But as soon as we got out the store, I didn't care if there was cameras watching. I threw it
Give
right
me
in the
that
trash.
joint. That's right.
And I explained to our daughter, as age appropriate as possible, why I did that. But it was crazy to me that I went into a market to get flowers. And my daughter encountered her first love is love, and this is a stranger doing this, so I don't know what kind of impression it made towards her. So I can't even imagine your child is in school for 8 hours a day, speaking with other students who might feel that way. One thing I learned is whatever you're exposed to is going to end up dominating you. You don't have that much of a strong will or power to withstand everything that's around you. Human beings are sponges, so whether it's positive or negative, it's going to impact you. And I think to say that, yeah, my kid is exposed to this, but I'll just talk to them, I think it's kind of being naive.
Yeah, environment is everything. Think of, I'm going to use a plant analogy. Sorry, guys. Think of a plant being planted into the wrong soil, not getting enough sun, but you're watering it, right? You're trying to water it as much as you can, but it's not getting the right amount of sun, and the soil is not the right soil. That plant's not going to make it. No matter how much you keep on watering it, no matter how much you keep on checking it and making sure that it's not dried out, it's not going to make it because it's not getting enough of the right sun exposure and it's not in the right soil. Like, I think people forget that, yeah, we can do our best, but environment is key, man. Environment is really, really key. I seen a video a while ago about a man who was kind of explaining that to parents, saying that, like, no matter what you teach your kids, what shows the success rate of children is usually the schools and the neighborhood that you choose to live in. And a lot of people don't realize that. And don't get me wrong, there's situations where that does work, but the damage is done. You know what I mean? Like, the damage is done. As an adult now, there's songs that I still remember from my childhood, and I'm just like, yo, why do I still remember these crazy lyrics? It's already there. It's already done. So you just don't know what these things are going to embed in your child that's going to later change the way that they think, change the way that they act, change their identity. And this is not just, oh, it's a song. Like, the things they're pushing, it's in books, it's in music, it's in movies, it's in commercials, it's in their shows, it's on their clothes, it's at the stores. You go to Target, bro. Have y'all been to Target? There was a time I was shopping at Target, and don't get me wrong, I love some of their stuff, but there was a time I was shopping for our daughter, and I was like, I can't tell what's going on here. First of all, the excessive cutouts and crop tops for 1-year-olds and 2-year-olds and 3-year-olds is just like, maybe I'm just old school, but I just think some of this stuff is just way too much. We got to let kids be kids at this point. It feels like we're pushing them to develop quicker, and it's showing.
Yeah, I mean, puberty starts now at 6 years old for a lot of girls.
It's crazy.
Like, the process starts at 6, as early as 6. It can start at 8 years old, which is just insane. So from 2 to 5 or younger, you're being targeted with stuff like this. Yeah. You go to Target to buy some clothes, you're being given crop tops and everything. Yeah. And then on top of that, you're starting puberty super early before your mind has even fully developed,
comprehended what's happening to you.
One of the reasons why we wanted to do this episode is to just bring awareness of it. Yeah, you could believe whatever you want to believe. Some people may watch this episode and think like, I disagree. I watch Peppa Pig. I think it's great. I think it's a great way to introduce kids to this. But this is for the parents who know that they don't agree with it. Yeah, and believe it or not, I do believe that's the strong majority.
But no one wants to say anything.
Right. People just want to mind their own business. They want to be politically correct.
Yeah, what is the comment saying? We hear every time we mention something like this is someone we know, they be like, dag, that's crazy. Wow. You really? Dang, that's crazy. And you're just like, okay, because we're all thinking, not my kid. Yeah. Clearly it's somebody's kid. Yeah. That's the thing. I'm like, everyone's like, not my kid. No, God got my kid. You don't think the kids that are out there that turned out completely different than the parents expected, God didn't have them. You didn't think the parents were praying? Like, it takes more than that. It takes paying attention. It takes being present. It takes controlling environment to some extent until they're old enough to be able to make proper decisions. It takes being heavily involved. I don't care what nobody says, yo, know what your kids doing, know what they're watching. I believe in read the books before they read it. Watch the shows before they watch it. And if you have to slowly introduce them to episodes, do that. Because I know how I like things done, but I completely respect and understand the parents who like things a different way. Mm-hmm. We're not here to tell you don't let your kids watch TV. That's your decision. You know what I mean? But if you're going to do that, just understand that there are groups of people who don't have the best interest for your children. Therefore, before you expose them to some of these things, expose it to yourself first to make sure it's appropriate for them. Yeah. So they don't have to see the new episode the day that it comes out. Like, they don't. Yeah. You can watch that episode first, and then you can see if it's appropriate for their age range, because the things that they're pushing for children now, it is not children appropriate at all. Because even like when we were coming up, I remember there was this show called Degrassi. Y'all remember that?
I didn't watch it, but I remember the commercial.
I did not watch it either because it wasn't like really my age range at the time. But I remember like junior high school kids watching it, and the things that were on that show was just like, what? And the actors were acting like junior high school kids. They were playing junior high school kids. So obviously junior high school kids are going to relate. And the thing about shows like this is, although they're showing junior high school kids, there are kids younger watching it. Mm-hmm. When we were watching Saved by the Bell, they were in high school, right? Mm-hmm. How old were we?
Kids.
Okay. So that's my point. Is like, yeah, it seems like, oh yeah, it's for children 2 to 5. But I promise you, most of the parents that are showing their children this show, their children are under 1. They're probably under 1 or under 2. A lot of the kids that watch Cocomelon, they're not just 2, 3, 4, 5. They're younger, some of them. and you just don't know what it's doing to your child's brain. It's already told them what you didn't have the chance to have a discussion with them on. And that's my problem. Like, give the parents an opportunity to introduce these conversations, to have a conversation with them first before you push it on them. And I think that's why they're targeting children now at this age, is because they want to get there before you. Like, that's really what it is. They want to get there before you. So what better time to get them than before they actually go to school, toddler ages.
Yeah.
It's outrageous.
And I think each generation makes the same mistake, assuming that our experience or our knowledge and belief will just translate to them. So like the previous generation looked at millennials like, what's wrong with your work ethic? Just stay in the same job for 40 years.
Yeah.
They assume that
We would
because
follow
they
in
did
their
it, we were
footsteps.
following their
Yeah.
footsteps. And I think parents do the same thing when it comes to what's on TV. They assume that, my son may be watching some LGBT influenced things, but he knows not to do that. Like, it's a
Yeah.
completely different time. Have you
Yeah.
seen the rappers and now the athletes
Bro.
carrying diamond bags and wearing
Purses.
purses and everything? It's definitely a different time.
Definitely.
Where masculinity is defined on a different scale
Yeah.
in this generation. I've even seen, apparently it's a new trend, and I could be way outdated. I don't know. I just saw it said a new
We
trend.
old. He probably wrong.
But there was a new trend of men standing in the club, but they'll be like standing on the couches or something, and their girl will be in front of them, and the men just have their bags and they're on their phones, and it just looked.
Wait, huh?
So apparently, like, you know how people will go to the club sometime and they'll hold bottles back in the day, like that was
Yeah.
a thing. From what I saw, the new thing now is men just holding their bag, like their purse,
Is that a thing, y'all?
and standing on the couch. I wonder if I can find a video.
Yeah,
just to
find it.
show
Maybe
you,
we'll post it on the Instagram page.
But when I
that week.
saw that, my thought was like, that is so
Yeah.
weird.
Every generation thinks that, though.
Every
Yeah.
generation thinks that. So
Yeah.
don't make the mistake of thinking like, just because there's LGBTQ friendly programming out there, your son, your daughter, who grew up in church knows the difference. Like, no,
Yeah.
it's a war out there.
Yeah.
It's a war
sure.
for our minds out there.
Yeah, for sure. And it makes me think of like people who are like, well, they just gonna watch what we watched. Check that out too.
Yeah.
Watch them again.
Bugs Bunny was not normal.
Because now that I'm an adult, there's certain shows that I had rewatched a little bit, like seen a random episode, and I'm like, I don't remember noticing that. But now that I'm older, I have more of an understanding of what I'm watching. As a
Yeah.
child, you don't put two and two together, but your brain took it in
Yeah.
already. There are some things that they showed us. Listen, watch it again. If you the type that want to show your kids the shows we grew up on, watch it again. The
Yeah.
music we grew up on, listen to it again, because you'll listen back and be like, wait a minute, I was 9.
Yeah.
What was I singing about a thong song for? I was 9, 10, and I was singing about thong song. That is crazy.
Yeah.
Okay? That is insane. But like you said, it's been happening. We're just noticing it now because we're adults.
Yeah.
And it's pushing a more extreme version of it, you know? But it's been happening, because now that I'm thinking about it, Xena.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
I'm sure a lot of y'all do, right?
I was confused as
I was
hell.
confused as hell too. Xena, what was her name? Gabrielle?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was the first time I seen something like that on television. And I was like, what just happened there?
I still remember my mom's reaction.
And I was a kid.
I still remember my mom's reaction. She saw it. She said, "Oh!" She turned the channel. That was the last time we saw Xena, but she didn't explain. I don't think
But it
she
happened
explained to us.
already.
Yeah, but that was my first time seeing two females do that.
Yeah. And that wasn't cable TV, y'all. That wasn't that Channel 11?
Yeah, that's why I want to say Channel 11.
That was that was in the 90s.
Yeah, we had to put the hanger in the back of the TV to make it work.
That was in the 90s. So that alone should tell you it's been decades, okay, since Xena. And they are showing a lot more
Yeah.
and telling a lot more. And they're not as subliminal as they used to be. So definitely check on y'all kids.
Yeah.
Please and thank you. Check on y'all kids. Prayer is not enough if you're not doing the action. Check on y'all
Faith
kids.
without works is dead.
That part. And we're out. Thank you for spending your time with us. We hope you gained some knowledge today that'll promote poise in your life. We have new episodes uploaded every Thursday right here, same place, same time. Until next time, you can follow us on Instagram at Noirpoise Podcast to stay connected. That's NOIRPOISED Podcast. We'd love to hear your feedback.
And remember, your wisdom is power.